Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we have another video that was highly requested on our Instagram. So we're gonna be doing a little self-evaluation. So I'm gonna be asking you a couple questions about your dancing, and I'm gonna have you write them in a notebook. So if you need to pause the video at any point to take some time to write, please do so, but I'll just get going and ask these questions. So the first question I want to ask is, what do you do well as a dancer? I want you to take a second and determine what things you do well as a dancer, things that you like about your dancing. And if you can't think of something that you personally like about your dancing, then maybe take something that your teacher has said to you before that you do well, if you're having trouble thinking of something that you like about your dancing. Second question, determine what areas of your dancing that you want to improve. Try and think of something you want to improve, not something your teacher has asked you to do. It might be something that your teacher has asked you to do as well, but try and think about for yourself what's something that you want to improve. Once you've determined something that you want to improve, I want you to take some time to think if it is something that is feasible to improve. So, for example, if it's something like your arches, you don't like the way your arches are, they might not be able to change. If it's something to do with the bone structure of your foot, there's only so much you can do to change that. You can't change your skeleton, you can't change your bones. So take a second to determine, is it something you have control over? And if it's not something that you have control over, try and think of something that you do well or something that you can develop that will maybe distract from that limitation that you have. If it is something you can do, take a second to think of some ways that you can start to take action to try and make it better. So brainstorm a couple things that you can do to try and make it better. So to give an example of this, for me, a physical limitation I have is turnout. There's bone-on-bone action that happens when I try to get to a certain level of rotation, and it doesn't go any further. So for me, back steps is a movement that I find very difficult. It's very hard to do back steps well when you can't get the range of motion that you need in your hips. So something that I've spent a lot of time working on is smoothing out my back steps and making them fluid, so at least I have smooth, fluid back steps that are kind of turned in instead of clunky back steps that are kind of turned in. So I tried to smooth out the sliding up and down the back of the leg and tried to keep the elevation consistent. So at least there was not other things on top of the fact that I was struggling with my turnout. So take a second if you need to think, okay, what are some things that I can do to kind of disguise this physical limitation that I have? How can I make the most of it? The next question I have is, are you a dancer that gets preoccupied with working on your legs? Are you a dancer that often is working on your technique with your feet, maybe at the bar, or you're doing high cuts with your arms like this? Is that you? Ask yourself and be honest. Is it you? If it is, that's totally okay. There's so much going on with our legs. We really need to work on all of the aspects of what our legs and our feet are doing, the technique, the placement, working on the power, the turnout. There's so much going on with our lower body. It's extremely important to isolate that so that you can really get a feel for your corrections. However, why is it that we spend all this time practicing on just our legs and we never give attention to just our upper body? So if you're a dancer that practices with just your legs a lot, have you ever taken the time to jump and just focus on what your arms are doing? Because the reality is, if you can control your upper body, control your core, build up your back muscles so that you have great posture, make sure that there's no niggly things that are happening on the top of your body, your lower body is going to have so much more freedom to do all the crazy things that it needs to do without your upper body detracting from that. So if you're a dancer that just dances with your lower body, maybe try to do like a half hour of your practice where you just focus on your upper body and you just give that the attention that it needs. The next thing is, do you film yourself dancing? And if so, do you do it often? So something that's really great about filming yourself dancing, and after you've written in your journal, I want you to just try filming yourself, because a lot of times we hear what our teachers have to say, we're working on the corrections that our teachers have to say, and I'm sure everyone has experienced this at least once where they really feel like they're fixing a correction and they think they've got it, and they're like, yes, this feels different, I've got it. Maybe even you're looking in the mirror and it looks different, but it's really hard to see in the mirror while you're bopping around if it's actually fixed or not. And sometimes we're really convinced we've fixed it. But then you watch a video of yourself and you realize, it's not as fixed as I thought it was. And then you start to realize, oh, this is why my teacher is still getting after me for this. Because really it's not fixed, even though it feels different. So that visual aspect of it is extremely important for you to visualize, have that aid, internalize the correction, and then start to see, okay, let me match the feeling to the visual that I want. The other thing that's really great about filming is that you can use it as a tool to see your progress. So you can have this evidence that you are actually improving, because something that can really interfere with your practice success is having those days where you're really negative with yourself and you're thinking, ugh, I do these same steps, these same championship steps, these same dances all the time. They just feel like they're not getting better. You can take that opportunity to look at your dancing and see the improvements. And also, once you start filming yourself, you can start to have a little bit more agency as well, because it's amazing to have your teachers support you and tell you all the things that they want to see fixed. But your practice starts to get really powerful when you can start to see things for yourself and say, I want to get like that. I want to dance like that. And a lot of times you'll find that does align with what your teacher wants. So everybody wins. But ultimately, you should be dancing for you at the end of the day. It's amazing to have respect for your teacher, for your parents, whoever got you into Highland dancing. You want to have all that as well. But at the end of the day, you want you to be proud of your dancing too. So it's not always just about making other people happy with your dancing. You have to find a bit of happiness in yourself and pride in your own achievements and achieving the things that you've decided you wanted for yourself too. And the last thing that's really great about filming is you can do it in slow motion, which really helps to find issues you may have with your alignment and really see how you can be more efficient with your movements. So for example, if you are a person that heaves when you're elevating, you let your chest fall forward and then you have to readjust before you can elevate again. You can see those things in slow motion really clearly, and you can start to discover how you can improve your transitions. Which leads me to my last point, which is, are you a dancer? This is my last question for you to write in your notebook. Are you a dancer that is preoccupied with the precision of your positions and your technique? If the answer is yes, there is nothing wrong with that. That is amazing quality to have. We all want to have those perfect positions, that perfect technique, those picture moments that all your teachers ask for. If I took a picture of you at this competition, I would want to see that perfect position. But it can get to a point where you're too preoccupied with that and you don't think about how you're getting to each position. So you really need to have a focus on that as well, because it doesn't matter if you hit the perfect position if you didn't look good getting there. So take time to look at the transitions. Watch your videos in slow motion. Look at your dancing and say, did I get from this position to this position efficiently? And did I get from this position to this position with the quality of movement that I want? Because that is going to elevate your dancing so much when you do that. When you find those moments where you can find the nuance in it. How can I get from second to third rear aerial and make it look fantastic? Not only the position of second and the position of third rear aerial, but how can I make the dancing part of it look good? It's not just about the pictures. You have to dance it. So, answer those questions for yourself in your notebook. Take a read through. Take some videos of yourself and find the things that you want. And do an experiment. See if they align with what your teacher wants, and take some time to just really dive in and evaluate your own dancing. Because once you start to take that initiative and really take a look at the things that you want out of your dancing, your improvement is going to happen so much faster, and you're gonna have more fun doing it too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you next week.